I call to order the meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Burr Ridge for November 10, 2025. Clerk Schaus, can I have you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Francis?
Here.
Trustee Skiappa? Trustee Pavesa?
Here.
Trustee Snyder?
Here.
Trustee Matal?
Here.
Trustee Smith?
Here.
Mayor Grasso?
Here. Trustee Schiappa gave me and Evan notice that he wouldn't be here tonight. He's on a family vacation. But he did tell us that he wasn't going to be present. That takes us to item 3, presentations and public hearings. There are none tonight. Item 4, the consent agenda. An item shall be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any one trustee or anyone present at the meeting. Those items marked with an asterisk are considered to be on the consent agenda. A roll call shall be taken on the approval of the consent agenda and recorded in the minutes as an omnibus vote. If an item is removed from the consent agenda, it will be discussed by the board, opened for public comment, and voted upon during this meeting. Trustee Francis has asked for item minutes 5A to be removed. So we will start with 5B, receive and file Plan Commission meeting of October 6, 2025. C, receive and file Plan Commission meeting of November 3rd, 2025. And D, receive and file Comprehensive Plan Update Committee meeting of October 15, 2025. 6B, approval of an ordinance approving an extension for a special use amendment in accordance with zoning ordinance section 13L8 to amend the Forest Edge subdivision planned unit development ordinance A 835-0201 to 1, lower the minimum average lot size requirements, and to 2, amend the lot configuration of Phase 2 of the Forest Edge subdivision Z10 2025 9140 Forest Edge Lane, Duza. 7, resolutions. A, approval of a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Burr Ridge and Cook County for the provision of environmental inspection services. 7B, approval of a resolution approving the disbursement of downtown business district funds to Brookhaven Market. 8, considerations. D, approval of the Board of Trustees 2026 meeting schedule. E, approval of change to committee meeting schedule. F, approval of a memorandum of understanding with Teamsters number 700 police officers. Approval of my nomination to appoint Casmiras Leja to the Stormwater Management Committee for a term expiring May 1, 2027. H, approval of vendor list dated October 27, 2025 for the fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $1,466,561.23 for all funds, plus $264,513.58 for payroll ending October 11, 2025 for a grand total of $731,074.81, excuse me. And I, approval of vendor list dated November 10, 2025 for the fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $400,324 for all funds, plus $253,415.90 for payroll ending October 25, 2025 for a grand total of $653,739.90. With that, can I get a motion to approve the following items on the consent agenda? 5B, C, and D, 8B, 7AB, and 8D, E, F, G, H, and I. Did I say 6B?
I think you said 8B.
Sorry, 6B, thank you.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion at the board level? Any discussion or comment from the public? Roll call, please.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
5-0.
5-0, motion passes. That takes us to item of 5 minutes A, approval of regular board meeting of October 13, 2026. Trustee Francis?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two minor additions, please. On page 12348, scroll down to that. Reports and communications. Trustee Matal was kind enough to mention that she attended the car show. Also, trustees Smith, Schiappa, and Franzese participated in the car show and attended as well. So there were, of the trustees here in the village, 4 of the 6 attended. I'd like to mention.
I did not, I said I did not attend it at that
Did
time.
not attend, oh. Well, then we need to correct that as well. Trustee Matal, or just strike that then, that she did not attend, and that trustees Smith, Schiappa, and Francis did attend and also participated. In addition,
Is that a motion to amend?
not finished yet,
You're gonna combine the motions?
not finished yet,
The 2 changes?
yeah,
Okay.
not finished yet. Also, when we spoke of Village of Burr Ridge resident Nancy Montalbano, who recently passed away, she was a village volunteer for the Stormwater Committee. The Stormwater Committee isn't the most glamorous committee in the village, but it's certainly a very important committee, and she was a great volunteer for that committee for 18 years. So those 2 additions and that 1 correction made, please, if the board,
Okay.
if the board concurs.
Okay, so that's a combined motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion at the board level? Any discussion or comment from the public? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. It's 5-0.
Got to vote on the minutes now as amended.
Okay. Can I now get a motion to approve, for approval of the regular board meeting minutes of October 13, 2025, as amended?
So moved.
Second.
We have a movement, a second. Any discussion at the board level? Any comment or discussion from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That takes us to 6A, consideration of an ordinance leveling taxes for all corporate purposes for the village of Burr Ridge, DuPage, and Cook Counties, Illinois, for the fiscal year commencing on May 1, 2025, and ending April 30, 2026. Evan?
Thank you, Mayor. As discussed at our last board meeting, this is the property tax levy ordinance. This will levy $1,344,080 for our total property tax levy in 2025/2026. As discussed, this will be our 6th consecutive year with a tax rate cut. The EAV is growing much faster than our rates are growing. Our rates are actually going down. So again, this is another cut for us. This is the entire payment to the police property, our police pension levy at this point. Here to take any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Any questions for Evan? Yes, Anita.
So, so basically, we're taking the funds we were using for the police protection fund and putting it into the pension fund, but how are we going to pay for the police protection, or where's that money coming from?
Police protection was a small piece of the overall general fund. The general fund, as you know, is about $12 million. Frankly, revenues are growing faster elsewhere in the form of sales taxes, non-home rule sales taxes, income tax, and the like, and so those types of revenues will make up for any loss in the property tax going forward.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, any questions from the public? All right, can I get a motion to approve an ordinance levying taxes for all corporate purposes for the village of Burr Ridge, DuPage, and Cook Counties, Illinois, for the fiscal year commencing on May 1, 2025, and ending April 30, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion at the board level? Any question or comments from the public? Roll call, please.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Caveza?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
5-0.
5-0, the motion passes. Okay, that takes us to 8, consideration of Village Hall development. Evan?
So 8A is the standing item that is on every agenda going forward related to Village Hall. As you can see, we have 2 items on the agenda tonight to discuss related to that matter, so I suggest we simply move to 8B.
Can I get a motion to combine items 8B and, you want to take 8C at the same
No,
time?
they need to be separate.
Okay.
Separate things.
So
Just 8B right now.
let's move to 8B then. 8B, consideration of offers regarding the purchase of Village Hall, 7660 County Line Road. Evan?
Thank you, Mayor. So as I write here in the summary, after several years of analysis, discussion, et cetera, the board voted to place Village Hall for sale in August of this year. Property was appraised as such, and the board later directed staff to seek offers exceeding $2 million in net revenue to the village. We did receive an LOI from 814 Acquisitions, which was offered $2.3 million for the property, but this was later withdrawn after it was presented. The board later directed staff to seek revised offers in the form of PSAs, which are purchase and sale agreements. Those are more detailed, more specific than LOIs, and they have more binding value. That's why we were doing it that way. We were also directed to present offers tonight, and we are doing that. We've received 2 PSAs for the purchase of Village Hall. Both are actually from preschool users, Primrose and Goddard. I'd like to ask Patrick Ford to stand up just so we can see Patrick. Patrick is the broker the representative of Primrose, and Craig, if you could stand up. Craig is the representative for Goddard. You'll hear from both of them later tonight, just so you know who those people are. Both have offered a $2.7 million offering purchase price. At 5% to the broker, this is a net revenue to the village of $2,565,000. There's some differences in how the offers are presented, neither good nor bad from staff's perspective. We did review these offers with the village attorney. We do have comments from a contractual perspective on both, but tonight we're asking staff to help us to direct our attention to one of these offers. We can continue to work with that buyer to put together a final PSA that is both satisfactory to the village as well as the buyer, and we can bring that forward to the board in an expedient manner for further consideration. So again, no final decisions tonight regarding the sale of Village Hall. We've been instructed to hold a public hearing related to that matter per the board's numerous previous directions. So there's no final vote tonight. Tonight's vote is about direction and focusing our efforts, not to accept a final offer at this point. Myself and the attorneys have reviewed both contracts, and both are in the packet for your continued reading. Again, there are some differences in how the offers are presented. As you can see here, the earnest money is different. The timeline is slightly different. We called it the total potential timeline here. That is every potential amount of time that they've offered to close, including potential extensions. And so that's just giving you an idea that there are changes and differences in how both perceive the timeline moving forward here, and time is always a factor in these matters. I think something that's important to note is that these are both preschools and both are special uses in the T1 transitional district. So both will require some sort of plan commission and board review to ultimately have their use approved. So simply having their offer accepted on condition is not satisfactory to actually close. They will need to present to the plan commission and again to the board on the use itself. Both offers are for as-is use of the property, so they would not be tearing the building down. The building would generally be kept as is from the outside perspective. So if you like what you see on the outside, you'll continue to see it with one of these buyers. Obviously, the inside of the building would be renovated and refurbished to their needs. We have some renderings of what that would look like in the packet. And possession would also be at closing. So we would need to find some place for the Village Hall and its administrivia to operate between closing and when the new Village Hall was ready to go. And there would be some time between those. Can't give you an exact amount of time, but it would be months, not years, and months, not weeks. So there would be some period of time where we would need to find a home for staff. We have already completed that exercise at the staff level, and we feel confident that there are contingency plans that would work for us for a short period of time, not for years on end, but that would be a factor in any sale presented tonight. But again, we've considered that. We'd be prepared to talk to the board at a later date with more specifics, but again, that's not the point of tonight's discussion. The point of tonight's discussion is to have the board direct us to work with one of these fine buyers.
Okay.
At this point, at this point, I was going to say, turn it back over to the mayor for the board's questions and comments. Thank you.
Okay, let's take all of your questions, and while we're focused on directing staff what to do, obviously, any area that you want to raise a question about, feel free to raise any question you want. I have a few myself, so. Anybody want to start? Yes,
So a PSA is a contract or an offer?
It's an offer in the form of a contract.
Okay, so is it binding or?
Binding when we accept it. There are Nick Peppers from the village attorney's office went through both contracts, and he would have suggestions to recommend.
Okay.
But again, those are things that we would handle offline once we know specifically who to negotiate with.
Okay, so there would be some back and forth, and
Certainly
that
some
might take some time.
Attorney to attorney discussion, 100% with both.
Okay. Have we budgeted that time in here?
I don't think it would be too significant. We always have some attorney time every month for just general corporate purposes, so.
Okay.
We have that budget, and this is just one of the things we happen to be doing right now. I don't put that time in the village hall budget. That's just part of the operating budget.
Okay, and one other question I have is the earnest money. Typically, if people let go of the contract or they don't follow through, we get to keep it. Is that the same, would the terms be the same here, or would it be different?
I'd have to get specific into the contract, but usually I would agree that that's the way earnest money works, is failure to perform means we keep that money.
No. All right, thank you.
But any other trustees have a question? Yes?
At a previous meeting, I had asked for a timeline. Now that we have either two dates to choose from, two durations to choose from, 300 days or 220 days, I'd like to have that timeline, that information in place in the timeline, so we can determine then what kind of a bind we're going to be in with moving of staff over, construction timeline, move-in, materials, et cetera. It's going to be some logistic juggling here, so I still like to see that timeline, please.
The timelines are too long.
I don't know what the construction duration is.
They're too long.
At this point, I would say it's about a 12-month period
Okay, well,
at most.
Okay. Anybody else? So,
could we have that prepared?
okay, go ahead, Al.
For the next
Like
meeting?
I mentioned last time, we
Wait, let's
talked
get the
about,
timeline by the next one, but I really want to talk about that timeline. So let's
Okay.
get a timeline by the next meeting. Go ahead, Al.
Thank
like
you.
I mentioned last time, we talked about it, the thing that I worry about the most is making sure the deal goes through. So we've got two offers, and they both look very similar, but again, I'd like the attorney and the people to look into it to make sure that they are, there's no problem with their ability to go through with the deal once we approve it.
I agree with you. Anybody else? Okay, I have a few things. Both, the timelines of 300 days and 220 days, both of them are way too long. This is a buy it as is, take the building. We don't need too much time. Permitting, they can, let's put them on an accelerated schedule. These timelines tell me that I'm a little concerned about whether or not they're just trying to tie, somebody's trying to tie up this property and then try to market it within. So I have concerns there. The earnest money for Primrose is just unacceptable. $25,000 is ridiculous. And that is not acceptable. $135,000 from Goddard, that at least seems to be a fair amount of money. 5% broker fee seems a little rich. Some of that maybe, is the intent there that that would be split in half?
Between who?
Right, so that's all on our side?
So the only one that had a specific in the past has been Primrose, and it's been 5%. We pay that to their broker because
Right.
we don't have a broker.
Right, that seems a little high. Okay, And then I want to know, is Primrose going to do this? Do they have franchises? Is Goddard going to do this? Does Goddard have franchise operations? Yeah, I don't want to sign a contract with them, and I haven't read the fine print. I should have, but I haven't had the opportunity. But I want to be sure that they don't have the right to lay this off on a different buyer or a franchisee. And if they do, I want to know that up front. If that's what they plan to do, that's fair, as long as we know what's going on. But I understand that these, I'm very happy to see Primrose and Goddard, both quality entities, but I want to be sure who we're really selling this property to at the end of the day, because I think we owe that. I like the idea that it'll be for education and preschool and that kind of thing, but I want to be sure that the public knows through us who is actually going to be buying this property. So that's my main concerns looking at this tonight. Anybody? Yes, Joe?
Evan, how long, if they were to come back, and I like what the mayor said, the delay was 300 days. They've went through the property, they've evaluated it. On an average, it's like 120 days for a size of property like this. And if so, 120 days. Then lastly, for you, for your staff, and you said that we can do it, we can move it along. And do you have some timeline in your own, following Trustee Francis, that you're going to be able to pick up and move?
So I'll answer the one that I have more control over, which is the second one. Again, the representatives for both are here. I would ask the board, ask them directly so they can have their own answers on the record. I don't want to speak for either buyer in those regards. Yes, staff has discussed what I'll call a gap plan, where we would move some of the parties to police for a short while and some to public works for a while. Some of the staff, if you look ahead to 8C, you'll notice that the building has less and less offices in it because we're designing to be more and more remote work oriented. We're basically going to implement that starting now so we can begin to get used to that plan. So I feel comfortable that, I wouldn't want to do it for 10 years, but if you said I need to do it for a year to make a sale happen that the board was happy with, we're very prepared to do that. The police department has a front window that's very accessible, that's well known to the public. We could use for permitting, water bills, things like that. But at the end of the day, I don't have any concerns about our ability to execute what I'll call a short-term staffing plan without Village Hall. But again, as to the specifics of timing, who will operate, I would ask the representatives of those companies.
Thank you.
Clarification? So during the timeline, is that when they also have to get in front of Plan Commission and approved by the Plan Commission?
So not only do they have to get zoning approval, they need to get building permits. They have to get construction drawings drawn in, done. That specific part of our part of it, I'm not worried about the timing, but it's the creation of construction drawing. But yeah, there's, it's probably 90 days for the Plan Commission part alone, just on public notices and how we roll things, yeah.
Well, and then the other thing is 90 days to inspect a building that they're going to buy as is. 120 days in terms of Goddard. Seems too long. You're going to get it as is, inspect it, do the environmental. I get that part of it. But it shouldn't take that long to do that either. So I'm concerned about the length of the time periods here. They're just too generous. I mean, the presumption is that they want this property. So I would think that they're motivated to move along. So who wants to start addressing us first? So I guess the first one up would be Primrose.
Please.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Ford. I'm the real estate director for Primrose. We say our speech first or just kind of start into questions? Okay. All right. So I represent Primrose. I've been with Primrose about 12 months. We are expanding in the Chicagoland area. I have everything from Wisconsin all the way down to Louisiana. I actually I'm a resident of Bolingbrook, Illinois, so very familiar with Burr Ridge. Primrose is a franchise-driven organization, And we have about 530 schools. Now we operate 9 in the Chicagoland area and are, again, expanding. As you know, that the residents, as we have found in our research, value childhood education in Burr Ridge, very serious about it, and as are we. So if there were to be a difference between any other daycare provider, it would be the fact that we are educationally based. So we felt like Burr Ridge would be a good home for that. To go to the PSA and timeframes. So part of the timeframes that we are considering for 90 days or whatever initial time for due diligence is to do our soil testing, do whatever geo testing. We've been, as Evan would attest, in and out of the building several times already. We've engaged architects to see how we would configure the school to bring it to Primrose standards. We have done that on several times. We've already engaged our architects. We have a general idea of where we'd like to go, servicing children from 194 to just over a little over 200. So we're able to take advantage of all of the spaces, both upper level and lower level. So we feel like we have a pretty solid plan on that. Our construction drawings after our due diligence period takes about 6 weeks. So once we get all of those plans together and bring them back to the committee, we can do that as fast or as slow as the village would allow. So I think that contractually we try to put as much time as we can, but our franchisees have been identified. They have been in here several times. So we would not be shopping this school to anyone else. Our franchisees have purchased the trade area, which includes Burr Ridge all the way up to areas north of the Stevenson. So the opportunity to actually go and be looking for somebody during this time period is not there. Our haste in order to try and close involves the financing of our franchise. So what we don't want to do is put our franchisee in a predicament of having bridge loans or other type of sources once we close and now starting construction. What we would do is try to close as quickly as possible to save money, carrying cost of those franchisees to get them open as quickly as possible. So I think that answers a few of the questions, at least contractually, what we would do. We got to the 300 days through option periods. So if the municipality says, hey, we have another check for you to do, we have another village board meeting to do, we have the time contractually to be able to do that. But if we're able to get building permits quickly, we're able to move quickly. So I think that's important for you to know.
Anybody have any questions?
Go ahead. I'll go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
Yes.
So, excuse me, so in lieu of 300 days, what would be more realistic?
That would, to be honest, that would be in concert with the municipality to say building permits would take this long. Right, so if the building permits will take 90 days, then we would accelerate whatever this period we have 45 days, we would accelerate that.
Why don't we
Typically in commercial real estate, we don't know, right, what the municipal period and meeting
Okay.
approvals, those
So
types
why
of
don't
things.
we give him a general idea what the building permit process, how long it might take?
Well,
So he could refine his timeline.
Well, the simple answer is it'll take less time than it'll take to get zoning done.
Absolutely.
It would not be the first time that we have taken in a building permit plan, reviewed it, cleared it, refined it, and approved but held it, waiting for the special use to be granted. And so what we would do is on that day where the ordinance is signed by the mayor and the clerk, a building permit also goes in that envelope. So really those should be running on the same tracks, and that 90-day period should be zoning, building plans, and then a closing period in our minds.
Right. Okay. So you are flexible, and as long as you can work with the village timetable, you feel confident you're...
Absolutely. What most municipalities will have us do is do them sequentially rather than parallel. We could do parallel. We have.
Right, we'll try to do parallel. Yes, Anita?
So a couple of questions. So as the mayor underlined, that you're buying the building as is, and you said you've built a lot of these institutions in the near neighboring states. Have you built in an existing building, or have you built from the ground up?
We do both.
You do
We
both?
absolutely do both. And I will send, I sent Evan a couple of pictures, and I think the pictures were too large and they kicked back on the email. But we've done conversions. We do conversions. That's becoming a lot more in vogue to try to do that. It's established with the residents. Residents know where Village Hall is. It's a sound structure, right? So that's what we look for the safety of the children, right? Proximity to the police station, all the things that we would look for in the safety of the children, education of the children. So yes, we're finding that conversions, you never know what's going to happen once you open a wall, right? But we're finding that, the established structure is probably easier for us to work with.
Okay, my next question is, you said that you are still seeking financing, so you don't have someone to fund the purchase price, right?
No. We assign, once we go through at the closing table, we close and we assign the building to our franchisee, who's walking through the process. They've already been on calls with design, they've already been on calls with
But do you
engineers.
have a franchisee
We do,
right now?
yes, ma'am. We do.
Okay, so you have the financing?
We have a franchise.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's,
absolutely.
I misheard. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, so there's no problem with you letting us know who the franchisee is? And how do we do a proof of funds and know that the financing is there?
Proof of funds for the
Well,
total construction.
whatever you want to call it, I want to be sure the franchisee has the financing if that's who we choose to contract with.
Understood. Well, it's a
That's
group.
ultimately who's going to have the building, right?
No, sir, we will build. We will build. We'll do
You will
project
build and
management.
own, and then you lease it to your franchisee?
No, they buy it. They'll buy it, but we, as corporate Primrose, will manage that entire process. We will close on the building and assign at the closing table to the franchisee. So at that time, their financing is in place. So, but
Okay, so
it's
you
on
are
our
going
dime until we do
to,
it.
I'm sorry, you're going to buy, and so you're going to come up with the money.
Yes, sir. We will do
Okay.
it. We'll buy it, and then we'll assign it at closing. It'll be
All right,
that's
that's
in-
cleaner. I like it. That's better. It's cleaner.
Yes,
So, okay, thank you. I didn't understand it that way, but thank you for clarifying it.
absolutely.
Mayor?
Yes, Joe?
When you've purchased before, has it always been $25,000 earnest money?
Typically, but if, we can always change earnest money. Earnest money is, should not be value or looked upon as our interest, right? I think what probably is better for us to look at it to say, are you really interested? Is a number of times we come here, the fact that we've engaged ADAs, or our ADA is our name of our architect, the fact that we've done plans already that we are very serious about trying to get into this building. If the seller says, hey, we're taking on more risk, we want your earnest money to be higher, that's not a problem.
This is less than 1%.
Yeah, it's less than 1%. Okay, anybody else? Good questions? Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you. Going back. Yes, sir.
Gentleman from the Goddard School?
Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Craig Castle. I work for Cushman & Wakefield. I run our global education business and sports entertainment. All I focus on personally is the early childhood and private schools around the country. Goddard Corporate is one of my clients. We help them find different school properties across the country. This is an opportunity for Goddard schools to come in. There is, similar to Primrose, they are a franchise business. There's a lot of information that we shared already in a packet regarding Goddard. If you'd like me to share a little bit more detail, happy to do that. But I think there's some in the packet in terms of what's of interest. Similar to what you heard, there has been engaged an architect. We've actually already finished some of the plans. We've actually shared the scope of the work that's entailed. So that part is done. To address or assuage your concern regarding the timeline, the whole reason behind the timeline, we didn't know what the timeline is for you to approve the use. In most of the scenarios that I deal with across the country, specifically where a property is not zoned, as of right use for a school, we just didn't know, right, how long it's going to take you as a village and a municipality to approve that use. So I think from that perspective, we are not concerned on a timeline that we're happy to move forward and structure something that works for you from a timeline. From a funds perspective, once that approved use is changed from the municipality, we're happy to close at that time and then work with you from a transition period of time on how quickly your resources and staff can move on. So I guess from the timeline perspective, I don't view a total potential timeline of 220 days as an impediment from that perspective. That can shift, but it's all based on when we can close, based on the change of use and how quickly we can get access to the site and start doing the things that we need. But we're going to close before that, right? From that perspective, once that use happens. I guess something else to clarify from a net revenue, we are not asking for a 5% fee. So that's off. So like net revenue is 2.7, just so we're clear.
So
Like, we're
the
not asking for that.
Imputing fee is gone, is what you're saying, the 5%?
We did not ask for that. So that, you can delete that. So net revenue to village for Goddard should say 2.7. Other than that, we're, I think the other interesting part is our architect and contractor is a design-build entity. You should be familiar with them. They built the site for Guidepost Montessori down the road. The only other entity that has converted an existing building to a school in Burr Ridge, that's our architect and that's our contractor, right? Very familiar with dealing with Burr Ridge, permit, process, timeline, very familiar with modifying a current existing structure to the use, and familiar with what that looks like from that process. So I've worked with Burr Ridge before. I live in one of the neighboring towns, very familiar with the municipality, know that there's a need and demand in the community, and believe that Goddard's happy to look at that structure. Any questions?
Anita?
Can you talk a little about the school model for Goddard? Is it a daycare center? Is it K through 5?
No, it's a daycare. Yeah, so Goddard is a daycare, yeah.
Compete with Guidepost Montessori?
It would not, yeah, so Guidepost, different type of, it's a Montessori type of brand, right? Goddard, traditional daycare operator. Premium daycare operator, correct.
Okay. And
So
then,
I guess it's just a different pedagogy, right? Of what, and by the way, I think they can only have, their limited capacity is like 60 kids there.
and in your mind, what is appealing about this building and location as a broker?
So, well, as a leader of the education space across the country for Cushman, one, demand, right? Significant demand in the western suburbs, Hinsdale, Burr Ridge, Western Springs, LaGrange, Willowbrook, all these areas from that. So a tremendous demand. You also don't have a lot of daycare providers and the pathway, right? From an access and a pathway standpoint, anybody can come through here that lives further west on 55, stop, drop off, drive their kids to, or drop off, go to downtown. Or you have also public transit that's on the opposite side of the Brookhaven Marketplace, retail. So again, from that standpoint, you have the what's called the interface or the confluence of location, limited supply in the marketplace, specifically here in Hinsdale, Western Springs, LaGrange, very limited. There's only, I think, from a daycare operator perspective, on a premium operator side, there's only 3 or 4 in that whole area, right? All the rest are nonprofit type, tied to religious entities or tied to religious affiliation. And so there is a tremendous demand, limited supply, which drives why something like this, a property like this, that's on a footprint here, the location that you have. And it makes sense to use the existing structure. Because if any operator had to tear down and rebuild, the economics or the numbers just wouldn't make sense. Right? That's why most people are using the existing footprint from that perspective. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, Joe?
You're going to sit, Primrose, is going to assign it to a franchisee.
So Goddard, similar scenario, would take down the property, fund they would fund it all, right? And then it would be their choice whether to maintain it and lease it to a franchisee or assign it. But they're planning to take that down. Like that's their choice. That's what kind of a different scenario that they look at right now. That would be their scenario. Either one. Yes, sir.
Craig,
Yes, sir.
explain that a little bit more for me. You said Goddard would fund it, build it, and possibly lease it or give it to a franchisee, however you corporately.
Correct.
And then did you say or assign it to a third party?
No, or
Okay.
assign it potentially to a third party, to a franchise operator, right?
Lease it or
Just, so they would
Lease it
own
or
it.
sell
Lease it or sell it.
Okay.
So they would either own it or lease it, but that's their,
Okay, sorry, but it would be a Goddard franchisee.
it would be a Goddard, yeah, so at some point, yes, it will be a Goddard, the corporate.
Okay.
That doesn't mean a Goddard franchisee is gonna own it, but there will be, 100%, Goddard's a franchise business, so 100%. But they want to reserve the right to either own it, continue to own it from themselves and lease it from that perspective, or just.
I get it now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was a little concerned when you said assign it, that you were giving it to an outside of Goddard third party.
Yeah.
That's not.
Understood.
Okay.
Offers a difference.
But they're both franchisors.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And we would always keep the Goddard name.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think to solve for something like that, right? We've seen this a lot of times when we deal with municipalities that are either selling existing school buildings in and around the communities. I mean, I'm dealing with this right now with Westmont Public Schools. They're looking to upgrade their infrastructure. One of the things that they have that you can do, candidly, in your PSA, and is structure into perpetuity, that this always remains an education facility, right? So again, that should assuage anyone's concern about this being transferred to another entity outside of anything else. As long as this property is going to maintain to be a education or early childhood facility, then that may assuage people's concern about who's going to own it, as long as it stays under that guise.
So potentially what you're saying is it could move from Goddard to another educational entity.
I'm saying that's what I'm not saying. I'm saying if the village is concerned about that scenario, about sometime down the road it changing, structure it under the PSA and under the guidance that this facility moving forward, or this site moving forward, remains an educational educational site and zoning, and that's what is going to be into perpetuity. That's how you prevent it. Whether or not it's us, Primrose, somebody else.
And the special use can also govern on that side as well. Every special use we write on this, Trustee Francis has done about 100 of these, I think.
Please, go ahead.
Where it is assigned to a specific owner, and if not that owner, it lapses. So if someone could not use it, they may own it, they could not actually operate as preschool here. So we would say something to the effect of Goddard LLC or Goddard Franchise 123 LLC as the preferred operator of the special use at 7660 County Line Road. Should it expire, then the special use is null and void, and the owner would have to either use it for a permitted use, of which there are 0 in the transitional district, or they'd have to get new zoning for something else, whether that's to restart it as another private school. We get this a lot right now with buildings changing hands, owner-occupied buildings, where the special use lapses and we have to start it with something else over here. So I would say that's not a concern of mine from a control perspective. The PSA can be structured that way, but the zoning is going to really hammer this because of the transitional district that it's in. You need a special use for anything in T1. I mean, truly anything. We can't do a dentist office without a special use in this district, so.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Happy to address any other questions.
thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
Yes, sir.
I have one. So you're with Cushman Wakefield?
I work for Cushman & Wakefield. That's correct.
Okay.
I run their education business. Yes, sir.
Does Jones, Lang, LaSalle have anything to do with this offer?
They do not.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Thank you.
Thank you. That's fine, I'm good.
So so I'll lead off. from what I heard of both tonight, especially the monetary side, the earnest money side, and the options and permit period side, I would like to see Goddard be the one that we start negotiating with at this point. Seems to be a better number. I like the earnest money commitment. I am, and I asked the question about Jones Lang LaSalle because one of my sons is a broker there that works with Goddard, and I wanted to be sure that Goddard isn't this Goddard.
Okay.
So Jones Lang LaSalle is not involved. I want to make that clear, but I am more familiar with that only because I'm familiar with my son. But I think they line up a little better from what I heard tonight, but we have 5 other people, so that's my 2 cents. Anybody else? Joe?
I like the Goddard, Primrose was very good, very eloquent, they do their thing, but Goddard came in and said, listen, take the 5% out, it was never there. Second, we've already, our architect, our engineer, we're design and build, just like Montessori's done. So you're familiar with them already. Second, we've already been here, we don't need to waste any time. You tell us when, you help us give the expedited service through the village to get our plans there. We'll move forward. That changed my mind on that one.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment? Yes?
Yeah, I'd
Yes?
agree with the net revenue to the village. That obviously is a huge plus. And I also agree with trustee Snyder about the fact that they've already done business, or the builder has already done business here in Burr Ridge. So they know how to work with us.
Known entity. Anyone else? Yes?
So thinking out loud here, I'm guessing maybe 2 plan commission meetings for a potential buyer, maybe a third at the most, but most likely 2, 1 village board meeting, so 45 days for the village review and approval process for the special use permit?
Not even close? No. It's 30 days just to get the special use notice out. 2 plan commission meetings, that's 30 days. There's 2 board meeting reviews for most things. It's been a while since we've done it on 1 review. Usually
2
we have
board meetings, yes, for the one for the
So
consideration.
that's why we always suggest 90 days, because it's 30 for the initial, 30 for plan, and 30 for board, and that's assuming we've met twice that month. So 30 might be cutting it close, frankly, if we're operating at 2+ plan commission meetings.
All right, so 90 days. Both of these seem like quality bidders. They've got good track records. They'll build a quality product for the village that's in demand. But I do like the one offer that does not have a real estate fee. So
Okay.
that would be Goddard. Thank you.
And, this is the sale of the village hall, which of course we have to have at least one public meeting, and let's get that scheduled. But I think we're obviously going to have our eyes on this more so than the average special use project coming through the village. And so with our eyes on it that often and that constant, I'd like to see this move as fast as possible because I really don't want the staff working somewhere for a long period of time. And that gets us to accelerate what's going to happen across the street also and get them moving at the same time. So I like the way Trustee Francis is thinking, understanding rules are the rules, of course, and we have to follow them. But we're going to stay focused on this because it is the village hall, and I like it to move as fast as possible. Al, did you have any comment on either one of the 2 quality presentations?
I'm good.
Okay. Then would someone make a motion as to who the village should deal with?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to motion that staff go forward and work with the transition or the contract negotiation with the Goddard.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any more discussion at the village, at the trustee level? Any questions from the public? Any comments? Any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
5-0.
5-0, the motion passes. I want to especially thank Mike, who came from Primrose, quality outfit, but we'd like to first talk to Goddard, but thank you for your presentation tonight. Okay, that takes us then to 8C, consideration of draft of Village Hall building design.
Thank you, Mayor. A bit more of a show and tell. We've got a little bit of feedback to get. I'd like to ask Evan and Elise to come up from LEGAT. So as you all know, we've been working on the design of the new building in conjunction with selling it. I'll skip down into some of the new stuff here. So really what we're doing here is just establishing two things. A, we're looking at the final layout design here, or at least I'd like to get agreement that we are looking at the final design layout here, and then have the architects walk you through next steps regarding the aesthetics of the building so we can jump into the construction phase with haste, as was said. So the main things that we've got here regarding the layout, not too much from a boardroom perspective. The only real change is that we've moved the storage to the back of the building back here. We'll show a picture of this in black and white, but mainly what happened was the storage used to be about there across the hall. Because this building will ultimately double as a big training room, we want to store the chairs and the tables that will go in this particular room in the building. You won't see it, but it just makes for a lot easier of a structural item for this. It doesn't take away any of the capacity that we've got here in the boardroom. We've just moved things around to make them fit a little bit better. Because we've done that, we've been able to make this corridor go all the way around the staff area back here. This is the bumped out area for offices. We didn't previously have that. It used to have to be from here around and down. It was like a three-sided. Are we good?
No.
I'm sorry.
Is it off?
It's off.
Yeah, we just lost it, so.
Okay. If you rub your finger on the bottom right, it might turn back on. Should see a blue light.
Here it goes. Look
Thank
at
you.
that.
Thank you.
I try, even from over here. Anywho, we've got the corridor working all the way around. We've got a door here, and a door here, and then a door here. So instead of having everybody use the window or the washroom up here that's currently in the lobby, we've now got a toilet area for both staff and boardroom users that is over here as well. So we've been able to really double our restroom capacity, which is very helpful. Had we not done that, we would have had to expand the in-lobby restrooms pretty considerably based on code size. So not wanted to do that. We added another bathroom that ultimately brought down cost and impact on the building. We've also moved things around. We've added a larger mechanical structure right here. This keeps everything in a single room. It used to be a little more spread out, but now it's all kept away from meeting areas in the back of the building that's not very visible from the public road. So we like that design a little bit as well. One of the vestibules we took out, this shows a little table and chairs. We think this might be storage at the end of the day, just open file cabinets, but that was one area we sought to reduce storage size. The main thing that I want to draw your eye to is we've reduced the number of offices in the area. This saves us about 300 square feet on the total cost of the building. But ultimately, as I said earlier, we are moving to more of a remote work platform. Pretty much everything we do is online or in the cloud nowadays with our ERP or email or Teams and those types of things. And so we're really going to lean into that in terms of designing the building to be remote work oriented. We think this is going to allow for a much more flexible layout of the Village Hall, which is a good thing, but also allow us to be hiring workers when we need to that can operate with the benefits of remote work when possible. Now, not every employee can work remote most of the time or some of the time, and so we've tried to build around for that. I, as the village administrator, should not be working remotely 4 days a week, as an example, so I have an office. But really, we took a hard look at anyone we think that should be working at least somewhat flexibly, taking them out of an office setting and into more of a flexible hoteling setting. And that's what this middle area is right here with 6 seats. Another benefit we've been able to derive is we've added a meeting room right here. This is a 5-person meeting room. The average size of the average department in Village Hall right now is 5 people, so that can have a small department meeting right there. But that takes a lot of the pressure off of our public conference room that we'd be building up here, right there, and allows for more of an internal meeting space at that point. So that's a big value gain that we didn't have previously. But at the end of the day, though, very happy with the work we've done to solidify this type of layout. We think it adds a lot of value by doing a lot of this work. It's made it a little bit smaller of a footprint, which allows for more design options to be put in place, and ultimately will help derive more financial value out of the project as well. So that is the layout, and I'll come back to it. At this point, I'd like to talk with Evan, the other Evan, about just the aesthetic, the exterior layout, and those types of things, just so we're getting good feedback from the board.
Hi, I'm Evan Menk with Leggett Architects. I'm a principal there and chief design director for the firm. So what we're presenting to you today is just kind of a vision of what the building might become, what it might be. We're really in our design development phase. We haven't exhausted design opportunities at this point. It's at that point where we lock in that floor plan, we start to bring in the stakeholders and set aside, identify all the pieces that we need in the building, we bring on engineering, et cetera. So this is really kind of that conceptual snapshot of what the building might be. So the existing police facility is primarily a stone and brick building with the 2 towers being timber structures. The roof is a shingled roof, and then you have that that painted wood fascia around the building. So you guys have all driven past it many times, but just describing again what it is to just recall. So predominantly the face of it that faces County Line Road is a limestone, stone-looking product, right? So, and then, the back of the building is more brick. So what we are proposing is the office components of the Village Hall will be much similar to what is on the police side, right? It would be that same sloped roof, that same masonry aesthetic. But when we come to the boardroom, it's really starting to take cues from the 2 towers at the police facility and address that height, right? So that existing entry to the building right now is quite tall, right? It's 30-some feet. It's quite glassy. It has that large canopy over it. So the intent or the aesthetic that we're looking at here is to match that height and really express the boardroom as an aesthetic feature of the building. So it's clear as anybody driving down County Line Road that they can say, oh, this is Village Hall, right? We've relocated signage to be on that prominent side and really make this more of a landmark, let's say. So in terms of materiality, there's kind of 2 different options on the main part of the building, right? So we're envisioning that roof to be similar in timber to what is at the existing tower. And we're envisioning that the front was probably stone, right, to be very similar to what's at the main building. At the boardroom right now, we're showing glass on the side, right? So you get some daylight in there, natural light that's pointing to the north. So that eliminates glare. It's a pleasing light. It doesn't create high contrast. And if you could go back one, please, Evan.
Yes.
Above that, one more. Above that, we kind of envision that as, you can kind of see a faint image of an oak leaf there, but it's kind of to announce entry, right? So this is clear, this is the new Village Hall, this is entry. So that's how we anticipate the building, the materials on the exterior, kind of lining that new entrance with a planter that relates directly to the canopy above. And then the plantings in the planter kind of block your view when you're inside looking out, so you're not staring at cars. So if you want to go to that next slide. Really, so the entry sequence is you come into that new entry that we're creating. So the existing entry tower will remain as entrance to the police facility. Our entrance for Village Hall will be right adjacent to that, right? And with that wall and that grand promenade, you'll know that this is Village Hall entrance. Obviously additional signage as required. But when you come in the building, right away you have this vision of the boardroom off to the left, and off to the right is the windows that you have, like you have here at the current Village Hall facility.
Thank you.
Also, we've showing some sort of idea of there could be display there of any community memorabilia or anything of that nature. If you want to go next. So this is just kind of a sketch of what that boardroom could be. It is designed to have 72 occupants, plus the dais, which is, you know, quite a bit more sizable than what you have here. We haven't really designed every detail of it, right? This is just kind of preliminary sketches. So the idea is, we see here that there's this really rich wood, and, you know, really historical aesthetic to this. I think this boardroom probably wants that same, right? You know, we're showing this as if that's panels at the front of the boardroom with screen there. There's also opportunity to put screens on the sidewall for the audience members and board members to see as well. But this is generally that aesthetic, some sort of wood at the ceiling, probably with acoustic treatment. So it'll have an aesthetic like this, but more contemporary and more acoustically sensitive.
Will it be vaulted?
It will be a taller space. It could be vaulted. Right now, we're envisioning that it's not vaulted.
Why?
I guess we hadn't thought about vaulting it. I think with vaulting it, you're starting to introduce additional construction members there to, instead of just a flat, you're starting to, you know, take two pieces and tilt them up to get that vault. We certainly could.
It's the boardroom.
Yeah, we certainly could do that. It could be coffered, soffitted, anything is a possibility. At this point, we're just rendering it as this is a taller space that deserves to be grand for the purpose that it is. But we certainly can explore any number of shapes or profiles or materials. Again, we're at that level, it's called design development, right? We're developing that design. What's your vision? We'll help you make that vision. And we haven't really had that conversation with you in depth yet.
Right.
Then this is as if you're seated or standing behind the dais and looking back at the audience and what that view looks like. So again, that glass is facing to the north. We're kind of showing the bottom is obscured, so there's some privacy there, and the top more clear to get that view to the sky and that natural, more direct, indirect light there. So, any questions or any comments?
You want to go back to comments on this?
Yeah, we're looking to make sure we're on the same page regarding overall layout. I'm good with it if you're good with it, but then we want real feedback regarding aesthetic, boardroom design, anything you have comments on now, it'll
Okay.
help speed along this process.
Anybody want to go first? Go ahead, Russ.
When I saw the roof line, is it
Put up the
worth
roof line,
to
please.
look
This
at?
one? This one?
Yeah, yep, on the new building. Is it worth looking at solar panels to be
Yeah.
potentially installed?
I like that
I
idea.
mean, we're gonna have the building for another 30-some plus years. Might be worthwhile.
Or at least to eliminate. I mean, we should be as energy as efficient as possible. And certainly we should rule in or rule out solar panels.
Yeah, solar is completely an option. It's just that cost, right? So you'd have to do a return on investment analysis, which our mechanical engineer could do that, certainly. You know, if you were to, there's opportunities you could, on the whole building, right? It wouldn't just have to be here. And even on that front piece, I'd probably say, maybe you don't want to put them on the front piece because you're going to see them, right? And they're not beautiful, right? We've all driven by homes where we're like, oh, wish that was on the backside, right? But with the amount of roof over the existing facility, you could certainly add them there. You could certainly add them over the office portion and conceal them, or at least not have them as visible as if they're right on the main front roof for everybody to see as they're driving by County Line.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody? Yes, Al?
I heard you mention that the roof was gonna be like 30 feet high. Has there been given any thought to rough in a second floor, should we ever need it?
No, frankly, I don't think we're gonna need that level of space at this point. That would require more or less doubling Village Hall staff, and I don't see a scenario where that happens. Even a couple more employees we could handle with the layout as drawn. That also creates where we have to create the opportunity for elevator shafts and stairways, and that takes a lot of room and
Well, if we need
expense
it,
to
I'm
do.
talking about roughing it out, should we need it,
Yeah.
not a plan for it, but to rough it out.
We'd still have to create some kind of dead areas where that sort of stuff could go. So the short answer is anything's possible. I don't want to cross anything off. I'm just saying that would require a really different layout than we've got here. And I'm already bumped up against a parking lot, a stormwater basin, an existing building. I just don't have a clear idea right now in talking with the architect about where that's gone. This architecture firm, just for the record, drew us the 2-story building way back when we started this. And the minute we took those off, the building went like instantly pretty small. We saved about 20% of space just by taking those away. So I'm not saying no, I'm just saying I don't think there's a real need to do that at this point, but we could at least do the homework to understand what that would take to do it, and should that be an issue down the road.
Yeah, I think generally what we find is it's more cost-effective to build the building a little bigger horizontally than it is to plan for future upstairs, a future second floor, but, as directed, we can look at that and see the feasibility of it. One of there's kind of 2 things we're up against really with this site, and really 3, right? I mean, we want to maintain as much of that existing stormwater basin as possible, right? Because you don't want to have to spend money on underground storage under the building or under the parking. That's just wasted money that nobody sees or enjoys, right? So currently, we are staying as much out of that as possible. It's our understanding that it's oversized right now, but not oversized that greatly that we want to be going into it that much. Secondly, on the south side, we're really right up against that driveway, right, for expansion. With the reconfiguration of the drive, we're proposing it goes out to County Line Road, but you want that to be a straight drive right now. You wouldn't want it to jog, which it could, but it'd be awkward to jog. You'd lose a bunch of parking, so you could have the building extend to the south. We did have options earlier where the building extended to the south. And then really that north boundary is really pinned in by, there was a certain number of cars that we were trying to meet, and forgive me, Evan, I don't remember what it was. I think it was like 35 or 30 or something like this. And we're really, pinched there too. So the footprint is very tight and as efficient as we can get it to be.
Still a good question, though.
Anybody else? Yes.
Could we scroll back to the interior layout, please? Can you show me what's changing in the existing police station? Can you highlight that, please?
Not a significant amount, so I'll go one at a time here. So we have a single Sallyport bay right now. We're proposing to add 2, because again, we're losing the exterior garage here. We probably should have had 2 from jump, but that's life. So we're adding 2 and 3, just based on the amount of stuff the police department have and things like that. We're reorienting the lunchroom. So right now the lunchroom is, if I can get my clicker, don't want that. The lunchroom is probably about this size right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so the lunchroom will be about 225% bigger. It'll be redesigned for everybody's use.
It'll be a shared lunchroom.
It'll be a shared lunchroom, but this door over here will have access to the police department, and admin staff won't have that access.
Understood.
The lobby's being reoriented just a little bit, mostly over here. The training room is about there in terms of the door, so that will slightly move. But other than that, not a significant amount of moving walls will occur in the police department.
Okay.
There'll be some optimization of certain areas. So like you see this invest files area, this is really just an open area. We want to install better cabinets back there like academic basements have. So there'll be some optimization of the police department, but this was designed to have either have benefits to the police department or be out of their way as much as possible. This corridor here was sort of seen as the border for where we could really work, because we don't want to interrupt any police operations. We made sure all their interview and reporting areas were kept the same. So overall, aside from the training room moving from A to B into a larger space and a larger Sallyport addition going on, the police department don't lose any functionality. If anything, they gain functionality.
So revising the training room into a conference room, a workroom, a public window and storage, as well as, is that existing mechanical to the left or
This is reoriented mechanical that will help.
above that?
This is all existing, yes.
Existing, okay, thank you.
That's how we wanted to put there.
Thank
This red line right here is the existing outside structure wall.
Thank you.
So, and we're going to solve the HVAC issue with the police
Yeah,
department.
we held on that. That's in this budget.
We're not
gonna
gonna
do that with this.
overlook that, right? We're
No,
gonna.
that's,
Okay.
yeah, that'll be included
That was
in
a
this.
shortcoming,
Yep.
I think, when we built the building. Okay, my turn. Everybody have a turn? My turn. Okay, can we go back to the facade? Okay. Too austere. This looks just too plain, too institutionalized, too, I know we have a tradition of being a prison farm, but that just looks to me, some
Sterile.
imagination has to be put into that. And including, why wouldn't there be lighting? Well, why wouldn't there be windows up?
I just want to clarify, this is not a final aesthetic design. I just want to make sure that's clear. What we're trying to agree on tonight is, do the walls look right where they're at?
Oh,
And then we're
okay.
going to come back with the colored pencils and go, here's where the brown will go, here's where the Burr oak design will go. That's why there's a very light Burr oak leaf there, just to say, we recognize something needs to go here, period. But no, this is, Evan's an exterior landscape designer. He did the Clarendon Metro Station. That came out great. That's why we're here tonight, is to say, give us any feedback you have so we can be on the record with all the public, and we'll come
Right.
back in a couple weeks with colored pencil designs that you can say, oh, that's much nicer.
Okay, the exterior wall that says Burr Ridge Village Hall with the logo, all that looks great, except the whole thing looks too bland. Wonder why there can't be light windows on that side, which would also bring more light into the boardroom. That was a question. The vaulting of the boardroom has to make a statement. I don't know what that statement is, but it cannot be anybody's boardroom. This is Burr Ridge's boardroom. That's all I know of what I want to see. And I think the trustees want to see that too. It is taxpayer money, but this is also the taxpayers' home. This is their village hall. This is their boardroom, and this community does sell an image. We are a very special place, and we proudly put that out there. This boardroom should be a very special boardroom. I can't see anything more than that, but that's what I'm seeing.
That's great.
Okay?
That gives us a lot to work with.
Okay. Which, also goes into whatever textures you're going to be putting on the walkways and all of that. So that's where I am right now. And after that, we're just going to have another session of this?
Yep.
Okay,
We'll have to fill it in. Yep.
good. Yes.
Quick question. So in the past, we've entertained ideas that the boardroom can also be a place where we can have small get-togethers. Can we build in some versatile options there where something can be put away and we can open it up and
So-
a
Yeah.
vaulted ceiling?
So that's where
and-
you've got, that's why we wanted to build the storage into the back here, is to
Okay.
allow for that furniture.
And what about the podium or where we're sitting, that part?
So a couple out, so the dais will have space for 13 people, so those you see here, and then staff will have a seat up here as well. You'll see this dotted line here, this is from the ceiling, right, a partition?
Operable partition.
That'll
so
help to
that you
protect the
could-
dais, so we can have trainings in there during the week.
Okay.
But no, the boardroom really is envisioned to be, I don't know the right term, but it's meant to be kind of the hub, the community
Multifunction.
center.
Multi-purpose room.
In ways that this room, I don't know
The
if totally
cafeteria.
lends itself to right now, but it'll be 50% bigger than the training room is right now. And you've been in there.
72 seats versus 36 right now?
Just in the audience, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is also drawn like extremely to code. Could you put more seats in there? Could more go in the hallway? You could fit 100 in there if you really, really wanted to, but can't draw it like that. But no, we have envisioned you know, the police department is really well located. We've been hosting some very fine trainings there, and they've been able to get complimentary access to those classes, which is great. And we really wanted to make sure that they and everybody in the village, including HOAs, things like that, had access to a great space. And I think, you know, the mayor's putting details onto our vision, which is to have really a first-class meeting area for whoever needs it. So yeah, we could have the Christmas parties in there or whatever you want.
So the door in the back, is there some way to open it up some more so that if we need it, we can have access to the lobby as well, and that can be one with that?
I think we looked at that and we said,
Yeah,
Probably.
earlier on, when we had shared images of this, it was a glass wall that was operable, so you could open it up into the hallway for
Right.
more participants. I think when we kind of debated that with Evan and staff, it was more of a luxury and anticipated doubling the size that you already have, plus standing room, that maybe that isn't a necessity. But it
think
is a
our-
possibility if you do choose that is something you
I
want.
think our thinking was, at least at the staff level, is if you were to take this view, this entire back wall becomes a nano wall, for lack of a better word, that may take away from the aesthetics of the inside of the boardroom, but we're happy to
Or
look
if
at
it is
everything.
glass or something, then it may not, it would not, I think, right?
I think any suggestion is helpful tonight.
I think it's a cost versus
Yeah, we have to always see
aesthetics
the cost, but I
kind of
think
a
we should go for something and then see what the cost is.
Yeah.
And then try to,
Yeah.
I mean, there are lots of options with people that we know in the village. And so if something is something we want and there's a cost involved, we have other options than just spending taxpayer money. We might be asking for contributions. We have a 501c where people can make contributions. So I also think that, we're on the same page, that back entrance, to me,
You need some
it's got to
wow
be
there.
more bigger. It's got to,
Have a wow effect.
that's just an entrance into a room, to me. I'm being blunt, but I think that's what you want to hear tonight. The dais, I really want to see what it looks like from, the front row seats.
So I
From
think,
somebody sitting here, because I don't think anybody was ever happy with this after it was done, and I was mayor when this was done. I wanted to, I don't know how to say it, but I want it to be more approachable.
so the visual reference that both of us have been using has been Downers Grove's new Village Hall in their boardroom. So if you can Google it, look at it online, I live a mile from that, but they have an on-the-floor dais like this that I think came out really well. It's a mix of tasteful but approachable, and that's been our visual reference, is to say this, the comments we've gotten in the past is this feels high, kind of a look-down dais, and there's also space savings as well to not have stairs for ADA purposes as well, but candidly, Downers Grove has been a real source of inspiration in designing this boardroom for us and trying to follow those
yeah.
ideas.
Certainly circulate those. I don't have too much of a problem with it being higher, but there shouldn't just be such a big wall in front of us. That's what I mean. And if we need to use computers, somehow they're lower and we can look down, but I don't want a wall separating us
Right.
from the public. We are their representatives, and therefore we should be approachable. I don't know what I'm talking about, I just know the feel I want. I don't know how it looks. That's your job.
Yeah, we're trying to eliminate this so you
Yeah.
can see laptops or work, water bottles or whatever. If you watch the video, you really can't see any of that right now. I think that was a design decision, but
Maybe they can do laptops in the desktop or something like that?
I think we'll get
I
the,
think we're on the same page by
Right.
saying that we believe that that's what the board would have wanted, was to have more of a light touch, but still very nice dais.
Would you be able to recommend some village halls that you've constructed recently in the area that we could visit and see because when you see something 360, it's a very different feel.
Sure. Yeah, we could make recommendations.
We could have a field tour.
yeah. Well, before we built the Village Center, we took all the trustees and the Plan Commission to various, we went to Glenview, we went, I don't know, Al's the only one, you were around, we went to
Mind
several
you.
other places.
And then we should do that all
Yeah.
over again.
That must
We
have been
can.
before the Open Meetings Act was passed.
Yeah, yeah. We had coffee and donuts, we didn't discuss anything. Yes, Guy?
Question.
Evan, you're going to send us some pictures of the Downers Grove boardroom for us, so we all don't have to, all six of us have to Google? Thank you. Could you go back to the rendering of the front facade, please? Thank you. I'm not an architect, I'm not an expert, but I would think that this new addition would, the exterior finishes, features, windows, layouts, et cetera, would mimic, would mirror, would further continue what's already there. So I see a blank wall facing, that wall would face County Line Road. I expect the same window treatments, somehow work those in, the same windows that are on the current police station. I like the idea of the boardroom having a solid wall of windows, maybe on the other side for the offices. We continue with the windows that are already there. I don't want this addition to look like it was scabbed on 20 years later. I want it to look like it was built all at one time.
Yeah, and the intent is that the Village Hall portion, the offices would directly mimic what's at Village Hall or
I'm not seeing, but I'm not seeing that now. So maybe in your next go-around, we can see that. So with some colors and depicting what's stone, what's wood, what's metal, et cetera. But
Which, I agree with Guy, which doesn't mean we can't add to the existing buildings. I'm wondering how the architecture has worn in 15 years. I mean, that would be
Exactly.
something, I wonder what you think about how the architecture, we opened that police department in 2010? 2010. So it's been 15 years. Has it worn well architecturally? You know, when someone would say, gee, it really already it's down. And so if there's more to be added to the current building to make this building different, and I mean, that's, again, it's a budget item. It's something we have to look at in terms of numbers. But I totally agree, this should look like it was one building and not an addition. Especially it's the additions being the Village Hall. And so if it requires some aesthetic adjustment to the current building, that's a cost, but it's something that the board should consider, check it off, or, but it's an option that we should not consider, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think there are some elements of the existing building that are dated and have not worn well. The wood fascia being one of them.
Right.
Right. The wood elements, I think you're painting them probably every third year, right, Dave, maybe, to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
So I think there's certainly updates that could be warranted to help tie old and new together more closely to make them all look like one.
it's not, and, you know, and I've got someone here who will write every negative thing I say, but it's not that we want you to have a blank check, but I want you to think in terms of, if I had to do this building and I wanted to make an architectural statement, here's what I would do with it, and it's gonna take this. And if those are, you know, more money, it's something, you know, at least we need to consider, and we might want to go to the public and say, hey, we need some contributions to get this done, but you're going to have a real different quality building. So I want all of those options. I think the board wants all of those options. We've always been frugal. We've always been very attentive to the taxpayers' money, but again, this is Village Hall, and I don't want to lose an opportunity to have a statement because of price. That may be the final decision, but I really want to know if we have an option to consider, if it takes more money, how we get that money, for example.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's always that challenge if you want to make a statement, right? I think early on when we presented, you know, is it a freestanding building? Is it on this, you know, on that site? Are we doing it here? I think you had said, oh, you want a wow factor, right? And so our hearing there is, this is a wow, right? That's not like so many Burr Ridge homes that are stone and, historical wannabes and that kind of thing. I think in our mind, this wants to be different, right? So if the direction from the board is, no, go more historical looking, be more something else, then we can certainly do that. I feel like this is really respectful to the entrance that's there. It speaks to it really well. You're not seeing the materiality, and that's on purpose. It's because we've been concentrating on getting staff and Evan comfortable with the plan that it works. Now we engage engineers, we really start to design what does this exterior want to become, right? So I agree, it's definitely going to have lighting, right? You see so many of those beautiful old stone buildings that are lit from below or from above. You get all that rich texture. We envision all of that same here.
Okay.
We envision that area above the glass to be potential location for sculpture, right? We've kind of hinted at maybe there's an oak leaf there, but there could be some grand expression that says this is Burr Ridge, right? That could even be the map of Burr Ridge, right? Kind of extrapolated into some, mosaic or something or some piece of art. But that's kind of the wow that we had been envisioning. So if that's the wrong direction, we definitely want to hear that.
No, but I think you're also hearing that if you need to draw the police department into this,
Yep.
we'd like to see a one building, a unity of the building. I think that's what you heard from a couple people.
Yeah, and that's great feedback. And we'd like that too. I mean, nothing worse than having, a red thumb stuck on a green hand, right?
Right.
So, yeah, that's kind of our vision too.
And we've lived in this building for, 40-plus years, so the next building should be ready for the next 40 years. So we should have something for the future, something that is green, that is energy efficient, because, and those are things that we don't know how to incorporate, but if you can make suggestions so that we're saving money on energy and resources such as that, and multi-purpose, and bringing it all together so that we can use rooms for different purposes. And then we can do more with less space.
Yeah, and I feel like the multi-purpose functions in the new boardroom will be, give you a lot more flexibility than you have here. And it'll still allow for police training events as well. So I think that for sure, to that point. For the energy efficiency, there's new energy codes. I don't know if Burr Ridge has adopted the 2024 codes yet.
But we should definitely look into those, yeah.
But there's energy efficiency built right into those that if you meet, there used to be this, I don't know if you probably don't want me to even go into this, but I will. There's the code minimums now get you an energy efficiency rating that you used to have to struggle to get, right? So there used to be, there's a U.S. Green Building Council has these LEED buildings, this LEED scoring system. You've probably heard of it. If you just meet code now, you're a LEED silver building. And, obviously, if you want to be LEED, then you got to pay all the fees and do all the paperwork, and there's costs associated with that. But all that said is you're getting a more energy efficient building now, building in 2024 and thereafter than you certainly were 40 years ago when this was built, and there was no energy codes.
Okay, you think they've got enough to work with?
Yes, go crazy.
Last, Evan, on the south side of the building, you had 8 new parking spaces.
Yes.
You can't squeeze in any more, or 4?
The issue becomes here, I'll just, so
Stairs.
there's 8 here, but there's also 7 added here.
I'm just thinking on the south side, can you add a couple, just 2 more to stay in with that line so it keeps it that way? Parking space is a parking space.
We can look, what I'm telling you though is this, we pretty scientifically came up with this, and this satisfies me
Curious.
very happily. We don't want to be parking all the way out to the property
No,
line
just
in
2
front,
more,
so
2 more puts you even with the
no
line.
parking in the front yard.
What's the total parking count?
I believe it's about 85 on
85.
the site, including public and staff.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, I think that's enough tonight, unless anybody else has got anything. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
I hope you appreciate the grilling, it's all meant to,
Absolutely.
That's why we do this.
Yeah, it's your new home. You want it to be what you want
Right.
it to be. So, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Feedback is always positive.
okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. All right, if we're gonna move on now, that takes us to public comment. Is there any public comment? Okay, there's no public comment. Reports and communications, Anita?
Right, well, tomorrow is November 11th, which is Veterans Day. Tomorrow, we're going to have a celebration here from 11 a.m. to 11:20 in front of the Village Memorial, Veterans Memorial right here. The welcome will be by Mike Monday, invocation by Pastor Bob, Pledge of Allegiance by Giselle Genesis and Ginger Polanco. There will be the Star Spangled Banner, and the whole Veterans Committee will be there. So that's for tomorrow. And then on November 21st, which is a Friday, we will have Deck the Green at the Village Center. It's free. So it's a very nice event. Everyone should bring their kids, grandkids there. You will meet Santa. There will be a magical holiday train that will take you around the village greens. There will be face painting. There will be a toy soldier on stilts, tree lighting ceremony. You will meet Buddy the Elf, hot cocoa station, popcorn wagon. No charge for the residents, so please be there with your family. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Yes, Russ?
I would just like to publicly wish the U.S. Marine Corps a happy 250th birthday.
I just looked it up. I was gonna say the same thing. How could it be 250 years and we're not 250 years in the country, but?
Well, we will be 2 years
back.
from now.
Yeah, so how did it take, get
Sorry,
1775.
next year, 76.
I must
by
have missed that
centennial
class in
76.
history.
1770, they shot her around the world.
Yeah.
It was in 1775.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but did we have a
Hostilities
formal
started.
Marine Corps then? See,
we had a militia.
We must have.
Yeah.
Why would we be doing this?
Right. Was there even a Montezuma, the halls of Montezuma?
There certainly was, yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, I have a couple of things. First, I want to thank Trustee Francis for covering me at the last meeting. Thank you, Guy.
Thank you.
And now I want to report on 2.5 days of lobbying that Evan and I did in Washington, D.C. this week, last week. So over the week of November 3rd, the village administrator, Evan Walter, and I traveled to Washington, D.C. to lobby members of the U.S. Senate and their staffs regarding the village's request for a unique zip code. At this time, there are 2 zip code bills in the Congress that have passed the House of Representatives, and both are currently before the Senate, where we're expecting the Senate to push them together. Senate Bill 2961 was introduced by Senator Jim Banks. He's a Republican from Indiana. That bill, we are part of that bill. Burr is in that bill. And there's also Senate Bill 1455, which is introduced by Senator Tim Scott, a Republican from South Carolina. Together, those 2 bills contain the 80 members of the National Zip Code Coalition municipal members. So we are a member of this national coalition. It's over 80 now. All the credit to Evan, having gone to a conference where this became a subject of the conference. And Evan said, gee, that's something I think Burr Ridge should sign on. So we are one of the 12 lead municipalities of the coalition, which is why I was there with 8 other mayors and village administrators going around to the, excuse me, to the U.S. Senate. Evan and I met with 6 total Senate offices. That was Rick Scott of Florida, Tim Scott of South Carolina, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, Majority Leader John Thune of South Dakota, and our own 2 senators, Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth. So we covered a lot in a couple of days. While other coalition members brought the total number of Senate office meetings to about 20. Do you have a couple of pictures? So just some pictures of, so that was the group of lobbyists. We were at our lobbyists that we hired. We were at their offices on Main Avenue in Washington, D.C. All of us are contributing towards their fee. There's another one, yeah. So we were broken down into smaller groups. Our group, myself, that person standing next to me was from Oklahoma, Evan, and then the other 2 were from South Carolina. Pink shirt there, he's the mayor of Goose Creek, South Carolina, which is in it is the fastest growing municipality and the fastest growing county and the fastest growing state. That was his elevator speech. And they now have 51,000 people in their area, and they don't have a zip code. And everybody had their.
Where is it?
South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So everybody has different, unique problems, but it's all common is they don't have a zip code. And all the reasons why we should have them. We received a lot of feedback regarding the concerns of the U.S. Postal Service, which right now don't seem to be real. Right away, they say cost. We said how much. We have 85 communities. How much could it be to reprogram a couple of computers? I suspect it might be software driven too, but again, how much? Let us know what your opposition is, and we want to work with you, of course. So we will continue to lobby Congress and the president eventually to see the legislation approved and Burr Ridge finally get its own zip code. We are hopeful. One of the groups, I was not part of it, Evan was not part of it, but they actually got a few minutes with Rand Paul, senator from Kentucky. He chairs the committee, some Homeland Security committee that includes zip codes, and importantly, he did not voice any opposition to this. So we are optimistic that something might even move before Christmas, but if not, then sometime in 2026. We are tentatively scheduled to go back and resume our lobbying in the spring if there's more momentum. So that's what Evan and I were doing last week. We also, my flight was diverted to Dulles Airport because of a scare at Reagan, and Evan was diverted to Baltimore. And then leaving, you were 3 or 4 hours delayed. I was only delayed 2 hours, but we did get out of DC before everything went to heck the next day. So all in all, I think it was. I left optimistic. I started the day thinking we weren't going to do so well, but I was very pleasantly surprised how well we were received by the Senate staffers. Senator Duckworth gave us time personally, and she's all over it, and she wants to be part of the bill. That's how I read it, her comments, and so keep your fingers crossed so that we get our own zip code soon. So that's what's going on. Finally, if any of you are interested in the new transportation bill that passed, it is hugely complicated. There's a nice 30-page summary, single-spaced, in the RTA publication. But this is really, I sit on the CMAP board too. We're meeting tomorrow, and this is really important for the future of the state of Illinois if they can properly fund it and properly govern it. So a lot of stuff happening for us locally and statewide. So that's the end of my comments. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn for the next meeting, which should be November 24th at 6:30?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.